What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another vintage Star Wars market update. This time we've got mint on cards that sold on eBay, as well as a few packaged mint and sealed box examples that I'm going to show towards the end of the video. Everything from early 20 and 21 backs all the way to last 17 figures. As always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys allow this channel to happen. Thanks for all of the support last year. And hopefully you guys are really enjoying these videos. I'll try to pump out as many videos as I can. I can't promise a daily video moving forward, but I'm going to do my best to try and at least put out, I'd say, 5 videos a week. And, you know, there were some really good deals, I think, in this batch of items that I'm going to show you. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter and getting access to all of my videos 24 hours early, it's patreon.com/actionfiguregrader. And the first one we've got is a die-cast land speeder, mint on card. It was in pretty great shape overall. There were some light spider veins on the front of the card, as you can see near the hang tab and on the left-hand side by Luke and Leia. But the blister did have some light yellowing to it, but the blister was in fantastic condition. Probably an overall yellowed 80 would be my guess for this one. And it sold for $200. I mean, $200 is a great deal, plus $18 shipping, I think, for that land speeder on the Star Wars racetrack card. Next up was a Snaggletooth. This one looks like the 21 back A, unpunched with a Mervin's price sticker. The blister on this one was crystal clear, as you can see right here. Really great shape overall. Probably an 80 plus condition, and it was listed for $400 plus $15 shipping. Already graded, this can approach $1,000 pretty easily, I think, in this condition. So to get an unpunched Snaggletooth for $400, I think that's a really good buy. Same seller also had this R5D4 on the 21 back. This one did have some condition issues, unfortunately. It had some color breaking creases near the hang tab and on the left-hand side of the card back, and the blister also did have some crunching on there. But that one sold for $450 plus $15 shipping. And I think in the current environment, that's a pretty fair deal. It's probably like a 70 plus to 75 grade would be my guess. But pretty nice example overall with a crystal clear blister, just admittedly with some condition issues. Likewise, here's another R5D4. Now this one was over in Japan. Me personally, I'm always a little hesitant to buy overseas unless I've made prior arrangements with the seller to double box it, even if they've got to charge me a little bit more. But this one was a beautiful AFA 80 example. This one was the 20 back C, 85, 80, 85 were the subscores on this one. So really nice example. Now, I'm going on memory, but I believe there was a Hakes example that was an AFA 85 that sold for over $2,500 in the last Hakes auction. This one was an AFA 80, and I expected this one to sell for around $1,500, and it came in even lower than that. $12.79 plus $40 shipping. I think that's a really good buy, assuming it arrives to you safe and sound. But gorgeous example of the 20 back C R5D4. Here was an unpunched Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot on the 31 back A Empire Strikes Back card. It was graded AFA 75. This one sold for $800 after sitting on the market for a little while. It took a little while to sell on this one, but pretty beautiful example. No price sticker, unpunched. AFA 75. The subscores were 75, 85, 75. So $800 took that one home. That seems a little high to me personally, but you know, it is an early ESB card back, and Luke Skywalker X-Wing, you're going to be paying big money for it. Next up was another 31 back A. This one was the Greedo, graded AFA 80, and the subscores were 80, 80, 85. It was punched, and I was expecting kind of $650 to $700, and it blew right past that number. At the end, it sold for $863 on 22 bids plus $17 shipping. A pretty gorgeous example overall, though, with nice high subgrades, crystal clear blister. So I can understand the appeal on that one. Next up was a Han Solo in his Hoth outfit. This one again was the 31 back A. So I believe this is the debut card for Han Hoth, and I thought this was a great price. It admittedly had quite a bit of edge wear, and it was punched with a price sticker, Lionel price sticker, somewhere around the hang tab and then all around the edges. Probably an overall 75 at best. It did have some light dings on the clear blister. That one sold for $305. I think that's a good buy, though, if you're willing to live with those defects. The same seller had the 41 back A survival kit offer. Again, it was punched with some wear around the hang tab. The blister was clear though, and that one sold for $355. I mean, I thought that was in better condition than the Hoth. Probably an overall 75 would be my guess. It had some light sticker residue on the Empire Strikes Back logo, but $355, that's about as good as you're going to get for the red-haired Leia Hoth on the 41A. So pretty good buy there. Next up was the Star Wars Display Arena 45 back Death Star droid. Again, it was punched with a price sticker, but the blister on this one was absolutely immaculate. The card back, again, was also in great shape. Probably an overall 80 grade would be my guess. And that one sold for $549. And I think that's a pretty good buy. I have a CAS 85 grade for this same card back. I think mine's a little overgraded, as I've talked about in past videos, but I paid around $550, I think, for mine. So that's not a bad price, though, for one I think that's in better condition than the one I own. Next up, this is one I was watching as well. I really would have liked to bid on this one, but this one started out a little bit higher and finally came back down a little bit in price, and it finally did sell. This was the 48 back C Free Revenge of the Jedi offer sticker Sand People. This one also was punched. It did have a little bit of sticker residue, price sticker residue below the ages 4 and up, but the blister was crystal clear. It's hard to tell on this one. It looks like the cape might have some discoloration going on, which is a common problem for these Sand People. You can see kind of some light staining maybe on that cape. It could be just shadows, I don't know, but at first blush, it does look like it's got some staining on the cape. But overall, pretty great shape, probably an overall 80. That one's, again, sold for $408 with free shipping. Next up was a gorgeous Darth Vader on the Return of the Jedi 65 back, clear blister. It was punched with another Mervin's price sticker, but that one was in pretty fantastic condition. Look at the blister on that one, just crystal clear. And if you get a Return of the Jedi Darth Vader with a crystal clear blister, if it's already graded, you can pay big money. I mean, I think I've seen a couple of them sell for $600 to $700. This one was ungraded, and it was over in the Netherlands, and it sold for $437.51 plus $20 shipping, but easily an overall 80 grade, and I think that's a pretty good buy for a nice Darth Vader with a clear blister Return of the Jedi. Just tough to find that. I mean, sometimes you do see 65 backs with clear blisters. It's not like it's impossible to find, but certainly not the easiest thing in the world to find. Next up was a clear blister Squid Head. This was graded UKG 80%. This was the 77 back. Tougher to find those. It does look crystal clear to me. I mean, maybe some light yellowing, but most of these photos show the blister up close, and it looks clear to me. The subscores were 80, 80, 85 for an overall 80% from UKG. And I thought this was a great buy. 161 pounds or 193 US dollars plus about $48 shipping with the global shipping program. Pretty good buy, though, I think, for a 77 back Squid Head, which does tend to yellow. Next up was a yellowed 80% UKG Biker Scout unpunched 77 back. Very light yellowing, though. This is one that does usually yellow pretty easily, and it's only very faint yellowing. The subscores were 80, 85, 85, 77 back A, unpunched, very nice condition overall. That one sold for 395 pounds, which is about 475 US dollars. Again, I think that price was very fair, given that's an unpunched example with just very light yellowing. Here was a beautiful El Regreso del Jedi Top Toys Argentinian Stormtrooper graded AFA 80. The subscores were 80, 85, 80. The Stormtroopers on this Top Toys card do tend to yellow. You can see some discoloration going on with the legs on this one. Probably a little bit overgraded to get the 80, or it could have started to discolor after grading, which does happen with this Top Toys Stormtrooper. But this is a pretty rare item, and this does tend to go for big money. This one was down in Australia. It sold for 1,400 Australian dollars on one bid, which is 949 US dollars plus shipping. I think that's a pretty good buy and pretty much in line with the last few Top Toy Stormtroopers we've seen sell here recently. Last 17 figures now. We've got a Power of the Force Amanaman, ungraded, but it did have some slight creasing going on near the ages 4 and up. It was unpunched, very light yellowing, or moderate yellowing, I'd say, for the blister. Another spider vein near the Amanaman name pill on that one. That one sold for 498 US dollars or 735 Australian dollars on 27 bids plus $27 shipping. That's kind of right in line with market in my mind. The same seller also had Han and Carbonite, unpunched. It did have kind of a spider vein at the top of the card back that kind of that went down near, I'd say about a third of the way down on the blister. Pretty heavy yellowing on the blister as well, but pretty common for these Power of the Force figures. That one sold for 520 Australian dollars or 352 US dollars. I think that's a very fair price for our last 17 Han Solo in Carbonite. Next up, I thought this was another good buy. This one was a Tri-Logo Imperial Dignitary. It was unpunched with a pretty nice looking blister. It had the etched edges, as we've seen on a number of different Palitoy Tri-Logos, and it did have some dings here and there. There were dings at the bottom as well as at the top of the blister, but probably an overall 75 plus at worst. Here is the back of the card back here, but just great condition overall. The card was in pretty immaculate condition. Now, it was listed for 350 US dollars. It sold for 250 US dollars plus $20 shipping from Canada. I thought that was a really great buy. It looks every bit of a 75 plus or an 80, and I think that was a really good buy. Next up, I've got a couple of mint and sealed box toys to finish off the video. This was the speeder bike on a really nice uncreased box. You can see that there's got one little spider vein there on the left-hand side as well as on the right-hand side, but overall, very, very nice condition, probably an overall 80 condition. That one sold for 350 Australian dollars, which is 237 US dollars. You can find these. You can find these speeder bikes on in nice packaging, mint and seal box for, I'd say, $250 to $300 max. This one sold for a little bit less than that, but after accounting for shipping, it's slightly over $250. So that's a pretty good price point to aim for, though, for those of you looking for this one. $250 or so, ungraded for the speeder bike, I think is very fair. And then finally, this was a big number. I was surprised by how big this number was. This was a mint and sealed box Ewok Village, but it says ×2. I don't know why it says ×2. Let's see. Let's check out this says never open. This is definitely worth getting graded. I don't know why it says ×2, but it definitely is just the Ewok Village, just one of them, mint and sealed box. But it sold for $1,800. $1,800 is a big, big number, plus $50 shipping coming from South Carolina. So probably an overall 75 condition would be my guess, maybe 75 overall, or 75 plus overall. But pretty good price, I guess. I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't pay that for the Ewok Village, but graded, these can go for over $2,500 I've seen. I do know that one time, he's a YouTuber and also a channel subscriber. I believe he got one for sub $1,000 that was mint and sealed box. So there can be deals out there, but $1,800 seems like a lot to me. But I don't follow the Ewok Village very closely. It's just way too big for me to even consider including in my collection. But the box art on this is just fantastic. I love the box art on these. Let's see if we can get a good shot of it here. Here we go. So we got the Rebel Commander. We got C-3PO in his throne, along with two Chief Chirpas kind of carrying him. Another Chief Chirpa in the elevator, and it's even got Han on the fire pit there, along with Logray and yet another Chief Chirpa. So there's 4 Chief Chirpas on the packaging for this one, and then you got Luke, Chewie, and R2-D2 inside the net. So this was a great playset. I had this playset as a child, and I love the box art on this. It's just really fantastic. It did have a kind of a little dent right there at the bottom of the front of the box, so I think 75 is probably about the grade for this one. But $1,800 is big boy money, and more than I would pay, but certainly a pretty awesome example. The tape on this one is actually in pretty good shape, as you can see right there. So anyway, that's all I really had for this video. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll be back soon.